Hello and welcome back to Pillars of Eternity. We are still at the sanitarium looking for
Ghost.
anyone, really.
Well met, friend.
A woman paces back and forth, her feet crunching on the soft red carpet. She gestures and mumbles to herself, shaking her head as she pores over pages of notes. She almost walks into you. Because here I am looking so hard for answers in my research that I do not see the kif standing in front of me. What can I do? I am looking for an expert on awakenings. That would be me. Though the lack of research subjects has made me more of an expert in counting floorboards. Eh, I would like to transfer Anime's success in buttressing pre-awakened souls to soothing those whose souls have already been awakened. But I need subjects, and most of the patients here are too broken to produce reliable results. It is a tragedy to have come so far for nothing. Well, you're all luck. I have a volunteer. She springs to the both of her feet, beaming. Guard! Who is it? Aloth's lips curl into a frown. I don't know about this. She grins more broadly still. Don't be silly. The process is perfectly harmless. All you must do is stand in that cage. I beg your pardon? I jest. You Adrians are so uptight. I don't even know how that thing is used for. It belonged to the last occupant of this office, I think. Now they upgrade him to a cell. Again, I jest. She rubs her hands together, getting down to business. So, I need you to sit here. She takes Alf by the shoulders and steers him to the couch. And try to relax. But don't try too hard, then you'll not be relaxing. Indeed, his eyes are humorless. And you must also wear these. A little cold, but the copper will help conduct your essence. The animator fastens thick copper bands to Alf's forehead and wrists. As she ratchets them tighter, his face twitches with suppressed irritation. Now I will examine your soul through my scope. She reaches into her desk and produces a long, chambered tube. Knobs, dials, and small toothed wheels run along the side of the device. It is fitted with arterial lenses cut to different thickness and concavities. By manipulating them, I find the angles and densities that will allow me to track the anomalies in your soul. How exciting! I never seen this sort of thing performed. Kana peers at the device with interest. It seems suitably complicated. Does this mean we'll get to talk to Isilmer more? I like that lady. She raises a finger. But first, we must find the scanning interloper. You will answer some personal questions while I make adjustments. Olive squirms on the couch. Very well. She holds the scope to her eye and flicks a knob. To begin, tell me something personal. Something from a time before your awakening. There's nothing to tell. I was just a normal child eating the seafood. He looks to you. His face is set in a frown, but the rigid edges of apprehension show through, nevertheless. Talk about your parents. As you speak to Alf, you feel your voice like a bell in your chest. It tolls softly, luring him into the mists of his own memory. Bella Sage doesn't seem to notice anything, but you feel as if your words are smoothing his essence, untangling its many threads. He closes his eyes. Mother is away most of the time, with the Thane's family, but I always know when she is coming home. Father's bottles accumulate like storm clouds on the horizon. His fits of temper become swifter and more violent. It still shames him, knowing that her hem-neck to another man's supports us better than his labors as a steward. This is good. I'm starting to see something. Continue. Tell us about the time you awakened. She bites her tongue as she twists on one of the dials. I am in my fifth year of training. Mother is home. I can let my guard down a little because when she is around, he is usually only angry with her. But he has heard that I have had trouble casting missile, that my flame shields are unstable, that he is furious that I have failed, and Mother's presence reminds him that he has failed too. The first blow takes me by surprise. One moment I'm sweeping the kitchen, the next I'm sprawled on the ground, stupidly looking at flecks of my blood on the tile. His boots glistening with fresh polish thud across the floor. He kicks me in the stomach, and I crawl up to shield my vitals. But it's pointless. Protecting one thing only leaves something else exposed. Still huddled on the ground, I retreat as fast as I can. I retreat until the vision of the kitchen and my own trembling knees is nothing but a pinprick against a field of black. His jaw locks and his eyes twitch beneath their lids. Medico! Bella said, fiercely cranks the knobs on her skull. He's hypnotized himself with his old memory. You've got to bring him out of it. Quickly! I almost have it. You're safe. Everything is fine. Aloth's eyes snap open, but the expression you can see in them isn't his. It's near safe when I hop upon him. Bella Sage sexily breathed through her teeth. That's it! I'm seeing a shift in his essence. Something spreading and congelating. She glances at you over her scope. Keep talking. He seems to respond to you. What brought you here? Cracking bones and voices high in the air. The roar mollusts feeling the creeps down your gut when crisis is nigh. I'm afraid though we have first of a total distinct essence. She jots shorthand notes onto the pages next to her and turns one clicking knob on the first scope. Now try to get the two of them talking. Aloth, ask Isilmer what she's doing. Aloth faced West in fury. Staking weed, warming parasite. He burst into sudden laughter. He would say the same to your own kin that week when it betrays ye. Ada grins. Must be hard to avoid knowing there's a lady in your body the whole time judging you. Good, yes, very good. She rests from her scribbling only to make another adjustment to her scope. I can now see two separate patterns of essence. Where he ebbs, the other flows. It's as if the awakened soul fills the spaces that he leaves empty. She prompts you with a circling of her wrist, quill still in her hand. Go on. Isilmer, what exactly are you taking from him? Nay, more than I'm giving. He should ask what I did that old man of his. How he last time he laid a hand on us. I break in three places. Alf's head jerks to the side. That wasn't your decision. It's never been your decision. Ye was awakening, but now I'm stuck with ye. And damn if I let your Nini drag us both through this copper. Act! Very good! She lowers her scope and scuffles her notes. I think I finally got something we can work with. I've tracked Isalmer's essence throughout the exchange. She had a particularly high density index during the most heated portions of their argument, and her essence seemed to localize most clearly in the lower portion of the subject's left ribcage. That's right around the spleen, which of course means that she is triggered by black bile. No doubt the subject's characteristic melancholy is to blame. Aloth blinks back at you, and in the midst of his perturbation, you're not quite sure who's looking out of his eyes. That's utter horseshit! Black bile, is it? I've certainly spat their share. Kana studies Aloth dubiously. It is a simple explanation that I expected, all things considered. She glares at him. Yes, never mind my years of training. I suppose you have a better explanation. Isilmer manifests when Aloth is in danger or under pressure. Bosage carefully scratches her jaw, her gaze darting between you and Aloth. I suppose that could be true. She jots another note. I'll have to check this against other research. He removes the copper bands. Well and good for you, but what does this mean for me? Belasage frowns at her notes, tapping her cheek with a quill and making a grand show of concentration. However, you catch her stealing a glance at you over the pages. It seems that Isilmer steps in when she determines that you're in danger. It's not clear yet whether this is a help or hindrance. From my position, I would say it's pretty clearly a hindrance. I've got a lot to process. Regardless, thank you for your help, Evna. He does not look at Belasage. She sets her nose on her desk and returns to her scope. Well, I hope this has been as useful to you as it has been to me. I finally have material worth publishing. You'll be the toast of revoir. Ventre, Aloth. His grimace melts into a crooked smile. Aye, advancing the righteous principles of animacy. Just what you've always wanted. As you turn to leave, you catch a darting movement out of the corner of your eye. The sage is humming to herself, still occupied with her scope. But Aloth is holding her notes. He's just about to tuck them into his cloak when he catches you watching. He holds a finger to his lips, his eyes wide and imploring. Please, I don't want my personal information published like this, especially not after her nonsense. Fair enough, but do it quietly. He hides the papers in his cloak. Need to worry. We'll see to this on our own. Hmm. Yeah, I'm sure you misplayed your nose. The page unturned completed. Sigrani returned. Oh, that was quick. After failing to prevent two additional deaths, Sagani and the monks were able to track down the murderer, a secretive scribe of the order that the other monks believed had died years ago. In reality, the scribe had been hiding in the catacombs beneath the monastery and progressively destroying heretical works that he believed spread lies about the origins of the gods. When the monks started to catch on, he killed anyone who raised suspicion. Rather than face punishment, the scribe leapt from the highest tower of the monastery to his death. In the scribe's subterranean laboratory, Sagani discovered several suspicious vials of thick brown fluid. The monastery's herbalist identified it as a potent poison, the same that had likely been used to kill the monks. How are we doing here? 9 hours.
How do you do?
A young Olan woman traces her fingers along the spines of the books in front of her. Row by row, her motions quick and skittish, like a bird's. She does not notice you until you are nearly upon her. Oh my! You startled me! Are you supposed to be in here? Um, are... What do you do here? I mostly help Master Azu set up and clean his equipment. I also keep his office organized since he's too busy to do it himself. If there's nothing else, I need to get back to work. I'm... Are you the animus who's been buying relics from Imad? I am not an animancer, so no. But I do know that most of those relics are stolen from ruins in Aaron Glanfad. Selling them is illegal. I'm investigating any suspicious activity in the sanitarium. Oh, I'm just Master Azu's assistant. He would know more about that, but he's in the middle of an I mean, busy with some patients. You won't be able to see him until he comes out of the patient ward. Is Azu busy with patients, or is he running some sort of an experiment? I'm just an assistant, not my place to gossip. I'm sorry. How do I get into patient ward? Only Master Azu has access. I guess head warden Ethelmer does too, but he's, as you know, a statue now. Okay, thank you. Ripley, I require more copper tabbing for my next experiment. Do not requisition it from the sanitarium stores. I don't have the time to deal with the head warden's inevitable questions. Ooh. Okay, we do have some mystery going on here. Something not
I'll see what I can find.
not all clear. The edges of the case are dented and scored with claw marks. Okay, that is interesting. I do not know how to deal with our animancer in the catacombs. I am thinking about that. I mean, we've lost the key for the trunk. We cannot open it anymore. Of course, the little asshole won't open it for us.
Hello!
Have you learned anything of interest? Maybe. Is Kidman also running experiments on the patients here? Experiments? Kidman also is in charge of patient welfare now. He's not authorized to run any more experiments. I'm, I'm disappointed in Kidman. I had hoped he would be the one to guide your inquiry. He'll be in his office or in the patient wards. I am granting you immediate access so you can find him. No doubt you will wish to speak to him further on this matter, and I, for one, am curious as to what he might have to say. Tread carefully indoors. There are a few dangerous cases. I would ask also that you do your best not to agitate the patients. They have enough troubles as it is. Understood? Thank you. Okay, let's save before going into the ward. The head warden says you can go in. Be careful in there. Hello? A curved spine twists this woman's posture forward. Her greasy hair draped over her large eyes like knives. She smiles at you. You must be visiting someone. Then, noticing your appearance, she asks, a friendly visit, I hope. Do you know where I might find Azul? I think I've seen him around today. Have you checked the laboratory? It shares a wall with his office. He's been spending most of his time there lately. Okay, thank you. Then I would like to walk around a little bit. And flash constructs? Oh, what do we have here? This place is huge. How long have I been wandering? I can no longer tell. The days in endless white, the cold breath of the wilderness biting at my neck. All I feel is the insistent hand of the wind pushing me forward. Where is it taking me? Where did it start? On the boat? Was there a boat? I remember one. A storm and disaster. If I dwell on it long enough, my mind rebels, so I walk, and she appears to me. How many times has it been? Once? Have I seen her before, or is it the first time? Did she ever leave? All my mind can do is ask questions. Each question leads to another question. The answer frightens me, so I walk. She stands with her head cast down. White hair hangs in front of her face, obscuring it from my view. She holds out a hand, pale, thin, palm up. She wants my help. She wants my soul. Something screams, inhuman and primal. It overtakes me from behind, wrapping me in a terrifying blanket of sound. My skin contracts as chills course through me. I turn to face my pursuer and see only a vast white emptiness. She is gone, like every time before. Was this the first time? Has she gone before? My stomach answers me with a growl. Hunger. The beast consumes me from the inside, and there is no stopping it. I must eat. I see water. Am I seeing it now? Is this a memory? Confusion slips. Sorry. Confusion slips its fingers inside my head and murmurs softly. I cannot quite hear it. I strain to no avail. The water remains. It must be here. I drop to my knees and hear the whisper-like crack of the ice beneath my knees. I am sitting in the lee of an ice mountain. The protection provides us little to prevent the wind from driving the pins of snow into my flesh. I am shaking. Where is my left hand? I move it. Nothing. I look down and see it moving. It is wet and caked with ice. My head falls back against the ice and I press the edges of my memory. My brain whispers back with a soft crackling sound and a scream. Wood on wood, tearing, cracking. I close my eyes against the onslaught. She appears before me again. Again? Time fragments and blows around me like the snow that obscures my vision. I am walking. My hand is on fire. I feel the needles piercing my fingers as she reaches hers out to me. She raises her head, black eyes staring blankly. Her mouth opens and closes, but if she speaks, I cannot hear it. The scream again, closer this time. If I still had emotion, I would be quaking. I turn as I have so many times before to see what monster has found me, and she is there behind me. She puts her hand on my chest. The cold burns through my clothes. She leans in, her mouth presses against my ear. We are waiting. I open my eyes. I lie on the ground. I see torn fabric, rocks, a broken wooden box, an unsuccessful campfire. Where did it come from? Did I make it? How did I get here? I roll onto my back, unable to stand. Exhaustion sits on my chest and holds me down. She stands above me. I see frozen tears on her cheek. She doesn't move. She doesn't threaten me. But I know this is the end. Her mouth opens. The inhuman scream that erupts from within her digs through the blackness that shrouds my mind, and I see her. The wood that tore beneath her feet. The water that swallowed her. She fades, replaced by the face of the devil that has followed me. Was it always there? In my madness, did I view it in a different form? Is anything in my mind true? Time bleeds. My vision shimmers, distorting the face that approaches. Its dark eyes watch closely as it walks forward. Its fur is matted and stained. Its fangs glisten in the fading light. Its enormous hands, tipped with jagged blades, rise above my head. I close my eyes. I am coming. That was a nice note. Hmm? Okay, we cannot open these doors. Another flesh construct here. Okay, so those are rooms or cells. Depends on how you are willing to look at it. Patient. We do not disturb any patients. More cells. I mean, no one reached out to us from those cells, so hmm. A round-faced, balding man turns to face you. His upper lip is pulled upward slightly by his pointed nose, exposing his upper teeth when he scowls.
What is the meaning of this?
Are you the animus who's been buying rugs from Imatel? Are you trying to discredit me? Go dig elsewhere.
What is it now?
Ethelmore told me you're not supposed to be doing any more experiments. Yes, well, Ethelmore hasn't done much good for anybody since he had his soul moved to an inanimate object, so I fail to see why I should let that sway me. If animators all followed the commands of their leaders, where would we be? We would all be as backward and willfully ignorant as reptiles. We would know nothing about life or death, or even ourselves. We would be lost in the dark with no clue as to why. I never thought I would find myself in agreement with a statue, but Ethelmore's right about this fellow, at least. He sneers at Azo. How easily ambition masquerades as prudence. I'll bet he's fool even himself. You toy with things beyond our comprehension. It's dangerous and foolish.
Are you from Rayed Ceres? Are you Widewen himself, risen to smite me for my heretical belief in learning who I am and why I exist? Please. You are afraid because men have taught you to be afraid. Because they were taught to be afraid. These things are only beyond our comprehension because of the fears of people like you. Who will solve Widewen's legacy? Some church? Some warrior? It will be an animancer, or it will be no one at all.
I need to know if you've seen any unusual behavior out of your patients. You're going to get a lot of looks asking questions like that in a sanitarium for the unbalance. In truth, I have spent little time treating them since I have been reduced in my capacities. You might have luck with some of our more functional patients. They tend to congregate in the main area, just past the entrance to the patient wards. Have you tried your experiments on any other subjects? I have, yes. No point in lying about it. Now that Ethelmore's involved. I asked the volunteers from our patients, and a few brave souls came forward. I was very close at one time to a breakthrough. They understood that. They understood their sacrifices would mean something. I heard you were demoted. How did it happen? Azo's nostrils flare as he bares his upper teeth more broadly. That's none of your concern. Did one of those other put you up to this? Outmer, the smug weasel. Things went wrong. Everything. I don't know how. I'll never know. He spits on the floor as if to remove a bitter taste from his mouth. I'm looking for an expert on awakenings. I don't have time to give you direction. Go bother somebody else. Oh, typical. Something churns and bubbles in this tank. Yep, that's all I need to know. So we have, I think, only Frail here to talk to. She's the only one that has name.
Gods keep you.
You found what you're looking for. Why are you in here? Behind her hair, her cheeks flushed. I don't want to say. You think less of me. When you blush, it brings the color of your eyes. Her blush deepens, and she ducks her head forward to bury her face deeper beneath her hair. These last few years haven't been kind to me. They haven't been kind to anyone, really. I try not to think of it as personal. I lost my husband and both boys in the Saints' War. My daughter, the legacy took her before she was even mine. I may do. What else can you do? I moved into a tiny place in Ondra's gift. God by mending clothes and own the kindness of strangers when I had to. But I was surviving and the gods were watching over me. I could live with that. Then, one day, this noblewoman comes in, wants this fancy gown fixed. Gorgeous thing. This shade of blue I've never seen before. Only I had. I looked at it and it reminded me of something. I had what they call an awakening. I remembered being a nobleman myself in another life. People doting over me. Men doting over me. Me! The best food, the most beautiful home, all the things you would never dare to dream of. They were mine. It was poison, knowing that all those things I had I'll never have in this life. It did something to me. My food started to taste rotten. The walls in my little room seemed to close in around me. I stopped being able to sleep in my own bed. So I came here. It was that or break into an estate and start ordering servants around. It seems like such a silly thing to worry about. You don't have to tell me, but I can't get past it, and I start to wonder, did the gods choose this life for me? And if so, what terrible thing must I have done to deserve it? Maybe you'll get there again one day. If not in this life, then in another. The strange part is, I think even the best wouldn't be good enough for me anymore. I think it must have gotten to that point when I was that noble lady. A curved spine twists this woman's posture forward, her greasy hair draped over her large eyes like veins. She smiles at you. Have any of the patients here been acting unusually? Well, there's Batix, who relieves a murder she committed more than five lifetimes ago. Edelman, who they say only has half a soul and who was found collecting the faces of others because he believed his own to be a false one. Ram, he speaks in a language no one understands and wails at night sometimes. And different from their normal behavior, I mean. Well, yes, I suppose, but nothing they didn't volunteer for. Master Aso let us know that a number of patients in the North Ward had volunteered for a new therapy and would be escorted to his laboratory to receive treatment. The North Ward has our most troubled cases. I'm glad some of them have chosen to get help. It seems to me it's gotten quieter over there since it started. It's Graham I see them taking in the most. He struggles, but he always was a bit of a wild one. What do you know about the animals, Sir Azo? Oh, I like him very much. Many animals could care less about the patients. Look at us, like vermin for the experiments. But Master Aso treats us like humans, even the very sick. You can tell he does this to help people. He's helped me understand what a great deal about myself. And I know he's done the same for others. It's too bad they did it to him. He hides it well, but I know he's still affected by it. What happened to Azo? Fragle's eyes dart back and forth, and her voice lowers to just over a whisper. They don't like to talk about it, but there was an accident. He was said to be one of the brightest in Deerwood. That was his reputation here, and that was what brought me to seek treatment. People say it was Ego that drove him to try and solve the legacy, but that's hogwash. Even if he was a bit of showman, he loves his homeland and thought he could help. He he wasn't one to speak of his work. Suspected his colleagues might have tried to steal it, but he told me once that he had figured out a way to create a soul. Not a soul exactly, mind you. How did he put it? A proxy, I think he called it. Had some machine that drew energy out of the very ether. Can you imagine? The point is, it was going to help with the legacy. It was going to make Holborn into something easier to love and care for. Gods know that's something we need. Do you know what they call those empty little babies in Untra's gift? No, tell me. They call them boys, because so many of them are found floating face down in the water. These are mad times. Anyway, Master Azo has scheduled a public demonstration of his work in Copperline. He was so excited! And then, the next day, he was locked in his office, turning away visitors. I heard, and and he stopped seeing patients. I don't know exactly what happened, and I don't have the heart to ask him, but I'm glad they're letting him treat people again. Would I be able to visit Northward? They like to keep them separate. I don't know that I've ever seen the guard allow a visitor, just Mr. Azo. You might ask him, he's very sympathetic. Okay, thank you. Mm, he's... Wait, he's very sympathetic. I think there's some cognitive dissonance happening here.
What is it now?
I would like to access the North Ward. Out of the question. Those patients are in isolation for a reason. Your forehead seemed damp all of a sudden. Perhaps I should discuss your insubordination with the head warden?
You smug cretin. How dare you come down here and meddle? You have no idea the importance of my research.
He pulls up his fist and digs his teeth into his index finger, a growl simmering beneath his breath and a deep scowl compressing his face.
Fine. Speak to them for all the good it'll do you. I'm sure the discussions will be fascinating.
He pulls a heavy key from one of his pockets and nearly slams it down on the floor before handing it to you. Compassionate. You are supposed to be compassionate. I'll save because I think the key goes over somewhere here. Come on, guys. Wait. Here somewhere? Oh, here. Wait. Keep your distance. It's in that cell back there. We've had incidents with this podcast. Okay, not this door. Here. Right.
Following your lead.
No, I don't talk to it. The construct turns his head toward you and watches warily.
These poor people. This isn't the treatment that they were promised upstairs by the cushioned seats and lush carpets. Is that the cure for soul sickness? To be thrown into a cell and subjected to the whims of your captor?
I doubt the wealthier citizens have the same experience. I'm sure they have their share of family members they would rather forget. But if all were treated like this sanitarium would never survive. What did this patient do to warrant such conditions? There are just as many who come here and are cured for their ills, people who would otherwise be cast aside. I hope so. Kana takes a deep breath. You're probably right. It's just hard to see. Let us be on our way. This place gnaws at the soul. Yeah, it does. Okay, and that's all of the cells. A willowy adolescent boy stands in the center of his cell, gawkish and stoop-shouldered. He stares straight ahead, the occasional blink his only movement, and it is unclear whether he registers your presence at all behind his glassy, doll-like eyes. In his state, the barriers between your soul and his are thin and porous, easily bypassed if you should wish it. Reach for his soul. You close your eyes and edge forward toward the boy's soul, and as you near, a sudden malaise comes over you. You are cold and warm all at once, sweating and shivering and straining for breath as you did on the caravan journey. The soul you approach is the wrong one, a parasitic plant that strangles its host. It is predatory and pitiless, and you have crossed paths with it before. Too late does it occur to you to retract, and already you feel yourself plunging into some interminable abyss of thought and memory. You're standing in a cell now. The same cell in the sanitarium. The halls are monolith and empty, and you are waiting. At the far end of the ward, the doors open, revealing a flesh golem in silhouette beneath the stone archway. It makes its usual rounds, the same stops every time, the misbegotten child of the despotent creators. When the construct is closed, you coil yourself up and spring forward, passing out of the boy's body as though it were a membrane. You can sense his body behind you collapsing to the floor, a puppet whose strings were cut. You are rushing toward the golem now, bodiless as a gust of wind. Quickly, you think to yourself, quickly, and you feel the strength hemorrhaging from your soul as you dart toward the makeshift abomination. You pass into the golem's shell and overtake the soul implanted within, encircling it, suppressing it, and contain in this new vessel you are strong again. You step heavy-footed down corridors, unheeded by the other constructs and scrutinized only by the wary, untrustworthy eyes of the mad, coming at last to an office piled with books and scribbled papers and the perverse implements of animacy. You set your oversized hands upon a large machine, a nest of globes and tubes and coils in the center of the room, and go to work, bending wires and unsettling alignments. Your surroundings are pulled past you, or perhaps you are pulled past them, and they dissolve into a blur. When they settle into place again, you are outside on a clear day, standing in front of a crowd stacked high above you on the tired seats of an amphitheater. You are acting for the crowd, standing deliberately still, but this is no play. A balding man with rodent-like features is strapping you to a machine, the one you had tampered with. You see your arms for the first time, short and fleshy, unmistakably those of a little girl, but this body is not truly yours. Your mind still holds the same determination, the same hard-hardness as before. The body itself is cold and vacuous, unlike the others. This one has no soul of its own. The man speaks, and the crowd applauds with an enthusiasm worthy of a hero's entrance. "Bear witness," he says as he pulls a lever. The machine shivers and sparks, and a bed of sweat rolls down the side of the man's brow. But the crowd's apprehension quickly gives way to awe as a crystal globe fills with a radiant mist and casts the entire theater aglow. He opens a valve, and the glow crawls through a tube along a length of copper wiring that runs to a set of electrodes beneath your armpits. You feel nothing when it reaches you, as it should be, for you have been leading his work astray periodically for some time, altering notes and settings and playing puppeteer for Hollowborn. But you make it look how people would expect it to look when a body is infused with a soul. In a moment, the machine goes dark, and the man unstraps you, eyeing you with a scientist's concern. He looks back up at the crowd. "Behold!" he says, but there is obvious hesitation in his voice. Slowly, you take a plodding step forward, then another, and another. You look up at the man, giving him the eye contact of which no Hullborn is capable, and the crowd gasps. The man looks relieved. "How do you feel?" he asks at a volume meant for the crowd, and this is the moment. At the top of your lungs you let out a piercing shriek. The man comes towards you, his hands outstretched, but you run the other way, back to the machine. With all your strength you drive your head into the crystal globe, and it shatters, streaking your head with warm blood. You drive your head down onto the surface of the machine again and again, drawing panicked screams from the crowd, and by the time the man reaches you, your body has already ceased proper function and merely twitches on the cold ground. Satisfied, you depart the corpse in search of another unsuspecting host. Who could put their faith in animacy now? You are pulled again from your surroundings, transcending the boundaries of memories and lifetimes, deeper and deeper past betrayals and murders and lies upon lies that form the thick webbing of plots beyond mortal comprehension. You settle at last on a room you have seen before, expensive, with a tall device encasing an Atra monolith at its center. The room is filled with people, and the people all look at the device. You are young, suddenly back to reality, and the once catatonic boy in the cell is looking directly at you, praising, calculating. There is no mistaking now that it is the soul of a man who caused your awakening that gazes out from that bald husk. A watcher. You made me a watcher. I need you to undo it. Is that so? He makes no effort to hide his disinterest, but he continues to search your eyes. He makes a slight grunting noise, and his eyes soften for an instant. and it seems for that moment that he recognizes you. He opens his mouth to speak, then seems to think better of what he was about to say. His jaw tightens. I know your look. You hunger for answers that elude you. It gnaws at your soul. It usurps your reason for being. You are like everyone. I will help you let go. He dodges backwards with a startling grace, putting himself out of reach. On his face there is no malice, only the dissipation of a farmer putting down a sick animal. Then, suddenly, he slumps forward. Oh, fuck. Of course, disengage. Uh, where are you? Stand here.
Yes?
I don't think he'll be able to do anything. Come on. Nope.
I'm here.
Oh. Do it again. Okay, do this. Do it again. Do it again. Come on. Aloth, get up.
Of course.
The chain is grown with added weight. Crescent bite marks pit the edges of the quote. But with that, I'm gonna end this part here. So for now, thank you very much. Stay alive and see you soon. Bye.